welcome to the program this morning on ITV. I am Anuluwapo Stevens. There's so much to talk about today on the show. From what happened yesterday in Abuja with the 2026 Nigeria scorecard reforms and everything Thursday that was discussed yesterday in that program, to the campaign season officially beginning. We have so much to talk about. Politicians, and it's also safe to say that politics is currently politicking already. Anyway, we'll quickly take a short break, and when we return, we'll move over to the conversation.
Benin Cultural Dance, a unique dance and quality dance steps of the Benin people.
Welcome back. You're on to This Morning on ITV. Now let me quickly bring on board my colleagues in Lagos and Abuja on the show this morning. Well, live in Abuja, Nigeria, the FCT, I have Charity Tanko. Good morning, Charity. How are you?
Good morning, Anolapo. I am fine. And how are you too? Good morning.
I'm great. Thank you so much. Good morning. Well, also in Lagos, Nigeria, I have joining Mercy Lena. Good morning, Mercy. How are you? And how is Lagos today?
I'm well, thank you. Good morning. Lagos is good. It's a beautiful day here, beautiful weather. And how are you too? How is Benin City this morning?
Well, great, amazing. It's wonderful over here. Now let's quickly kickstart and talk about inflation. Headline inflation and food prices, we hear, rise for the 6th straight month as inflation eases. Nigeria's food inflation accelerated in July, now rising to 20.31% month on month from 17.52% in June, marking the 6th straight monthly rise, even as the country's headline inflation rate slowed during the month. Now, the latest data from the National Bureau of Statistics showed that food inflation increased by 2.79 percentage points in July, driven by higher average prices of items, including crayfish, fresh pepper, onions, carrots, rice, water yam, tomatoes, garri, and so on. Now, Nigeria's food inflation accelerated in July, rising to 20.31% month on month from 17.52% in June, now marking the sixth straight monthly rise, even as the country's headline inflation rate slowed during the month. Now, away from that, let's also move over to another major conversation on the national discourse shaping the political scene right here in Nigeria. Before I come over to you ladies for your thoughts, Jonathan, the former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, is also in the news as we get to hear that Jonathan warned against a growing practice of 7 governors and powerful political figures. Now, Jonathan has warned against growing practice of 7 governors and powerful political figures converge on states for off-cycle governorship elections. Well, Jonathan made a remark in a statement on Tuesday where he commended the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, for the conduct of the August 15th governorship election in Osun State. Jonathan said the outcome of the Osun election showed that despite the challenges confronting Nigerian democracy, the country possesses the capacity to conduct elections in a manner that strengthens public confidence in its democratic institutions. So, from what I deduce from this, Jonathan basically is asking why we have a lot of political figures, a lot of governors always trooping into states during election. And now this actually are the conversation, ladies. Let me start with you quickly, Charity Tanko. Which of the stories would you want to take?
Especially during off-cycle elections. And it's not just about governors trooping into one state because of an election. We'll also see that there will be a quite number of security personnel. And for this, I was discussing this with someone, and what I got to understand is that for the deployment of security personnel to be that much, it is possible because it is an off-cycle election. But for governors leaving their state to come to a particular state, I think it's something that Nigerian politicians have mastered, and they see it as a form of show of force. Let us all go there and intimidate people and all of that. But to their shock and their surprise, this particular election in Osun State proved that it is not about the number of governors from a ruling party that comes to a state. It is about the people, the will of the people. And at the end of the day, the votes of the electorate spoke loud and clear. And on a lighter note, we could see videos flying of how they left the place, how they came in full force with all security and all that paparazzi. But at the time they were going out, we could see the videos, they were leaving so disappointed and downcasted. And I think this should teach Nigerian politicians a lesson. It's not as if they always learn their lessons, because I tell you, next off-cycle election, the same thing will repeat itself. But for me, I would say for this to work, there should be a standard, there should be some rules or law that will clearly state that even if you have to have your governors there, they shouldn't be up to that number. According to number, somewhere saying 19 governors were there, even the Senate president was there, and others were saying about 30 governors were there. Regardless of the number of governors that were there, we shouldn't be seeing this.
Right. Thank you so much, Charity. I felt like you just moved on to my next question. Now let me move to you, Marcelina. I'd love you to talk about any of the stories you want to, but let's start with the inflation. So right now we're seeing that headline inflation is slowly dropping. But interestingly, and to the shock of a lot of Nigerians, especially people that go to local markets, food prices are still on the increase, are still on the rise. What is going on here? Can you take us through?
That is the question that most Nigerians are asking. Sometimes these people, I'm talking about the government, politicians, you know, the people in power, they come out to, you know, say something, and it is just like it is being written in paper, but it is not being implemented. Saying inflation is coming down, but you go to the market, the prices of things are still the same. You know, the prices of things are even going up, but they're saying inflation is coming down. Inflation is actually coming down. It's two different things. I mean, when they say it, we should see it. I mean, you go to the market, you should be able to, you know, get little things, foodstuffs and all of that, but them saying inflation is actually coming down and the the prices of food on the market is still the same thing. You know, it shows a lot that most times, you know, those people just come out to, you know, tell us something. It is being written down on papers, but it is not been implemented. So I will be moving over to what Jonathan said, saying over seven governors, you know, went to Osun State to, you know, honestly, I do not know what they went there to do. Probably they went to support theirs, but unfortunately, you know, it turns out the other way around. It turns out that the people of Osun State, you know, came out to support their own, you know, came out to vote their conscience. And it also shows that for Nigerians that are out there thinking that if they go out to vote, will my vote count? I mean, Osun State election should, you know, should show you that if you go out there to vote, your vote counts. I saw a video where, you know, Davido was saying, if you're good, you're good. I mean, the uncle did well in Osun State. It shows that, I mean, that was why the people came out to contest for him. It's not just about, you know, different governors going to Osun State to, you know, even I heard that the Senate president too was there. And then you left your state to another state to shame the governor. But, you know, the table turned around and they were the one, I wouldn't say they were the one that was shamed, but I mean, we saw everything that happened on we saw every of the video on social media where some of the governors were leaving and, you know, the people were like shaming them and all of that. But I mean, at the same time, it just proved to Nigerians that your votes count. If you should go out to vote, your votes count.
Absolutely. Well, whilst those who would say that perhaps it was just a feel or a case of federal minds trying to play out, by the end of the day they lost in the game. Anyway, we'll keep our fingers crossed, especially as we move towards the 2027 general election. Now, I'll come back to you, Charity. Yesterday in Abuja, we had the presidency, you know, host an event tagged Nigeria's reforms, the scorecard, and we saw Taiwo Oyedele listed so many things where he talks about how some of the policies are working in this place, the governors are getting more, local government and getting more, and all of that. And now it brings me down to the conversation regarding headline inflation slowing down, right? But food prices are still up there. What really is going on? Is it safe to say that some of this policy, some of these economic policies are not really reflecting in the everyday lives of an average Nigerian?
To an average Nigerian, this is a case of the more we see or the more we hear, the less we understand. And as for the governors receiving more money since the removal of subsidy, yes, it is true. Because if you follow the monthly allocation that they receive, the state governments and the local governments, you could see that their monies have been have increased. In fact, it has tripled from what they used to collect in the past. So it is expected that with this amount of money coming into state, there should be some mechanisms to cushion the effects of poverty or hardship on the people. And that is why most times when they talked about government policies, it narrowed down to state governors. What are state governors doing, especially in terms of ensuring that there is stable security in their state, good roads, and yes, capital infrastructural development, ensuring that people can go to hospitals and meet doctors and get treated, have access to quality education. It has to reflect, because we all know that monies are going into the state's treasury on monthly basis. And as for the prices of goods and commodities and services going higher, well, in terms of food, there are certain food that they are seasonal. For instance, when you talked about pepper, tomatoes, we know that the last 3 months, tomatoes has not been in season, and so it is expected that it becomes very expensive. But right now, I think if you go to the market, tomatoes is becoming a little bit cheaper, and then even the pepper. And towards the from the beginning of this year, towards the end of last year to the beginning of this year, rice, for a fact, the prices of rice actually dropped, but currently it is rising. And the only thing I can say is that when it comes to what government is saying and to the ordinary Nigerian, it is a case of the more we see or the more we hear and the less we understand. When you go to the market, you definitely know that things are not as they should. But that also, we know that we have bad roads where these goods are being conveyed. And also there's the issue of the fuel prices. The people who are conveying this goods, this food stuff from wherever, from one state to another, they have to pay for fuel and all of that. If you own a car, you pay for fuel. If you do not own a car, you know that the car you're going to use in conveying your foodstuff, your goods, you have to pay double or even triple what you used to pay. So all these are factors that remains. These are factors that remains the reason why it will be very hard for foodstuff, for prices of foodstuff to drop to the way they used to be. As long as Nigerians still purchase fuel at 1,400, 1,300, 1,250 per liter.
Right, Charity, thank you so much for that great analysis. Well, a lot of persons would actually disagree when you say that the prices of rice, or the price of rice really dropped at some point this year in Nigeria, because if we try to take it down or take it back to 2015, how much a bag of rice was being sold in the country, it's completely different. And just as you mentioned, all the factors, because when I went through this particular report, insecurity is actually taking a toll on different nooks and crannies in the country. Right now, a lot of farmers cannot even go to their farm, and even when you can perhaps go to the farm to do what you ought to do during harvesting period, the state of the road is bad. Trying to transport what good to another location, it's another conversation entirely, and this is where we are. So we're using this medium to call out on the state government, the federal government, every other necessary bodies and relevant authorities in charge to do the needful regarding all of these issues. Now back to you, Charity. What's in from your end today on the show?
Well, from the Abuja Network studio this morning, we are x-raying the kicking off of presidential elections, of campaigns all over the country. We know that it started since yesterday, so we're looking at the impact of governance. It is, we know that it is no longer news that anytime campaigns kick off like this, governance tends to slow down. And with all the promises that President Tinubu made to Nigerians about ensuring that, ensuring that the livelihood of every Nigerian is being improved, we are looking at, with the kick-off of campaigns, are we going to be seeing a slow down in governance, or what are we going to be looking at? It's still 5 months to election, already campaigns have started, so we're going to be looking at this impact on the governance and on how Nigerians are going to be voting come 2027.
Right, thank you so much, Charity. Now back to you in Lagos, Nigeria. Mercelina, what are we getting from your end today?
Election is just by the corner. 2027 election. We saw that on the 18th of August, 2 days ago, the the candidates, both the presidents and some other political candidates, they sign a peace accord, according to them, ahead of the 2027 general election, committing themselves to peaceful, issue-based campaign and rejecting violence, hate speech, and all of that. We saw where Sowore was there, Peter Obi was there, and also somebody came there to represent the president, but Atiku was not there, and a lot of persons were saying that Atiku is one of the presidential candidates, the key presidential candidates, but he wasn't there to sign the peace accord. And another thing Nigerians are saying, not just signing peace accord, for violence not to happen or hate speech or anything, do they really keep to it? What about the people that break this rules and all of that? Do they keep to it? So basically today we're going to be looking at that and also 2027 election.
Right, thank you so much, ladies. It seems we are tailing the same line this morning, as some persons would say we're in the spirit. Anyway, right here in Edo State, Nigeria, we're going to turn our attention to, ahead of political campaigns in the country, setting the agenda straight. Should we expect issue-based campaigns or personality campaigns? And also, during the course of this week, the National Peace Accord was signed. The president was absent, even though he sent the secretary to the government of the Federation, George Akume, there. A lot of persons questioned his unavailability in that meeting. Why? What does this mean? Is it that it is not important enough to have a personality of our president there? And also, Atiku Abubakar was not there at the event, but we had likes of Peter Obi, we had likes of Sowore, and a host of others, even Adebayo from one of the political parties. Interestingly, I saw a woman there, and I was super glad. Esther is her name. So we're going to talk about all of these things and more as we get to move towards the 2027 general election. Now we'll take a short break. When we return, we move over to the front pages of the national dailies.
The threat of global warming is real. You have seen the destruction of lives and property as a result of incessant flooding. Make the environment a conducive place for all to live in. Stop polluting the environment. Protect the environment today. This message is brought to you courtesy Independent Television and Radio.
And if you just join in, you're into This Morning on ITV, and I have my guests right now in the studio. Ibrahim Momo, political analyst, thank you so much for joining. Welcome on board.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Right. Now let's quickly kickstart with the New Telegraph newspaper this morning. And the big headline is still in Osun State. It says, gunmen attack Adelike's convoy in Osogbo. Security operatives repel assailants. Subriders actually did say if we could have the subriders right now. Of course, we are aware that yesterday in Osun State precisely, Ademola Adeleke received his certificate of return. Okay, well, Subrider says governor received certificate of return, vows to heal, unite, build Osun, unveils 500 million naira election victims fund. Bon demands prosecution of election offenders. On page 2, 4, and 30 of the New Telegraph newspaper, we have that in stock. PFIPC, FEC orders forensic probe of government processes, internal control weaknesses. Away from that, Plateau killings, military relocate headquarters to Mangu, launches Operation Hard Knot. Other interesting headlines this morning on the front page of the New Telegraph newspaper. Tinubu now found to take over funds recovered by EFCC, unclaimed dividends, others. Senate summons NSC, NFF over poor state of football on page 31. 2027, Obi's campaign to be anchored on 5 C's, says POMR. Well, I'm looking forward to what these 5 C's actually mean. Now, OPS tackles FCCPC on alleged price manipulation in cement industry. Ibrahim Mama, which of the stories would you love to react to? Now, let's start with the big headline here. But what happened yesterday in Osun State? At some point I saw that it's an alleged attack. It didn't happen. It's fake news. And now we're seeing it on the front page of the newspaper.
Yeah, quite a disturbing trend. First, we see the run-up to the election, over 40 persons being killed in election-related violence. And then we have a situation where even the governor's convoy is said to have been attacked on the day he went to receive his certificate of return. So these are very disturbing information emanating from Osun. Nigerians, of course, must learn that elections is not a do or die affair, even though a former president once alleged that. And another one said if he doesn't win, he said to have said if he doesn't win, the baboons will be soaked in blood. So I think that our politicians must learn the idea around the sanity of human life and elections not being a do or die affair. So for me, that was the one that really stuck out, the attack on the convoy of the governor of Osun State.
Right, okay. Away from that, the Punch newspaper. Can we have the Punch newspaper up next? Well, the Punch newspaper this morning is leading with 2027 polls. 571 billion naira campaign spending limits. Now this is interesting for presidential and governorship candidates. Now it even gets more interesting, if there's a word like that, that says Tinubu, Atiku, Obi, Makinde, 15 presidential candidates allowed 190 billion naira campaign spend. Now that's a whole lot of money. New Electoral Act sets 500 million naira ceiling on individual donations. INEC says it will monitor campaign spendings. 127 governorship candidates get 381 billion naira campaign spending limit. Electoral advocacy bodies urge strict compliance. And also on the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning, we have pictures of what went down in Abuja yesterday as pension row, ex-servicemen suspend protest after defense minister assurance. Ibrahim Omar, the campaign spending limit. Now that's a whole lot of money there.
Yeah. We're hearing 571 billion. First of all, that's a huge amount of money that is being allowed to be spent. But in the way Nigeria's politics goes, that one is just a tip of the iceberg of what they're going to put into.
So you're saying it's going to be more?
Yeah, definitely. And they have a way of, politicians have a way of going around this issue. First, they will not be the ones spending directly. You have allies, and you can monitor spendings that come out from the candidate's official campaign council. But what is spent on media, for example, what is spent, in organizing rallies, road shows, conventions, and the rest, those are not captured. So I think that it's a huge issue. The issue of the quantum of funds that are expended during election. In Osun, for example, we're hearing figures around 110 or 70 billion for just the gubernatorial election. Imagine that is in one state. And when you put that together, look at the money that is used. There are about 106,000 polling units in the country. Right. If you're going to have at least 1 or 2 polling unit agents for any party, and you're going to pay those ones, if you calculate only for polling agents alone, you're going to run into tens of billions. And then you know another ancillary cost in run up to the election and on election day. And of course in Nigeria you do a lot of vote buying and selling, vote trading. So I know that as bad as it is, they are still going to find ways to exceed that amount.
Yeah, well, it's written interesting and heated up in the political space right here in Nigeria. Now let's move over to the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. The big headline says, Tinubu approves EFCC recovered loot on claimed dividends for student loans, as FEC approves 170 billion naira for National Library. 15.8 trillion naira fuel subsidy savings shared among federal government, state, or local government. Who was speaking? The Finance Minister, Taiwo Oyedele, has that to say, if I'm not mistaken there. Now, this one says, reform save Nigeria from economic crisis. Well, away from that major headline, Osogbo shooting, police begin investigation, confirm killings of 60-year-old man. Now, still on the front page, Tinubu appoints Eniton as head of civil service. Finally, on the Nigerian Tribune today, Tinubu to address world leaders at UN General Assembly, September 23rd.
So, for me, NELFund, getting the recovered loot, it's something that I think is an interesting step by government. Right. Government should, one of the challenges we have had is that government has not put enough attention into education. And then some of this recovered loot, what have we used them for? The Abacha loot and others. What have we used them for? There are no clear...
Well, we have Coastal Road on the line there.
Well, I'm not sure because I think we are taking a huge loan to do that Coastal Road. But, but if we are putting it into education, the NELFund, the loan for students, so students can access and go to school, I think it's a good thing. Of course, it can also be put into bursary. It doesn't have to always be loans. Government must find inventive ways to encourage education. And I think this is one of the ways government is doing a good job of that.
Absolutely. Well, we finally wrap up with the Guardian newspaper this morning, and it's leading with the major headline that says, state spending faces scrutiny over 15.8 trillion naira windfall, citizens' welfare, on page 6. And we have the diagram there illustrating what this really is about. Okay, I think another major headline we should look out for is 2027, look beyond campaign slogans. Obi challenges Nigeria. Obi challenges Nigeria, look beyond campaign slogans. 2027, Nigeria makes revenge of the poor over worsening hardship. Pat Utomi warns. Now, I'd love you to react to this as we wrap up.
Okay, very well. The amount of money being shared by FAC, Federal Account Allocation Committee, over 15 trillion, tells us that Nigeria apparently is a very rich country made up of very poor citizens. So if we have so much being shared by state governments and the federal government and the local governments, what is the impact of that huge, humongous amount on the life of citizens? So I think something that we need to really look at. I feel pain that we have so much money And we have, in that instance, we have so many poor people within the same country. It's a kind of irony that is difficult to explain.
Absolutely, yes, indeed. Ibrahim Momo, political analyst, thank you so much for your time on the newspaper review segment this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we'll take a short break. When we return, we'll talk about campaign. The season is on. You saw it on the front page of the newspaper. Over 571 billion naira campaign spending limit. It could even be more. We'll also turn our attention to talk about the National Peace Accord that was signed during the course of this week right here in Nigeria. All of this and more right after this break.
Some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Emobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
TV, certainly the best.
Welcome back. Now, campaigns have officially opened across Nigeria ahead of the January 16th election, setting the stage for an intense contest among political parties and candidates. With the campaign period now underway, attention is turning to issues shaping voters' choices, the strategies of the various political camps, and expectations of Nigerians as election day approaches. What are the major issues driving the campaign? Who has the stronger message? And what should voters be looking out for as politicians take their messages to the people? On This Morning on ITV TMI, we examine the campaign season and the key players, the promises being made, and what the January 16 election could actually mean for Nigeria. And also, let's not forget the governorship election happening the previous or the next month right here in Nigeria. It's also worthy to note the governorship campaign would soon begin September 9th, 2026. Now, let me introduce my guest on board on the show. I have joining me this morning Chris Ojekiri, Edo State ADC spokesman, right here in the studio. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Anna.
And also, pretty close to me, I have Omori Liberty, a political analyst. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
And
Good
also
morning.
On board, Ibrahim Momor. Thank you for staying still.
Thank you.
Now, let me quickly start with you, Edo State ADC spokesperson Chris Ojekiri. Now, what should we be expecting during the season? What do you think should be the major issues to dominate campaign in Nigeria this time around?
Well, the principal purpose of government is welfare and security. And those who framed the Constitution were able to articulate that from the people's needs. The people are most affected in any society by the state of security or insecurity in that country, and then welfare, which covers a lot of needs, you know, food welfare, educational welfare, health welfare, and all of that. So you can't go outside those two in shaping your campaign, whether promises, policies, programs. So the people are expecting political parties that would give them, you know, sustainable policies and programs that they have thought out to put in place to take care of those problems. Especially as in Nigeria today, those problems are highly exacerbated. Welfare and security, especially insecurity within the context of security, is probably the most topical issues that's going to dominate 2027 campaign. Because up until now, the state of insecurity remains as bad as it has always been, if not worse. And then there have not been the kind of poverty since the word Nigeria was coined to frame this geographical expression as there is right now. This is the worst time for Nigerians in terms of food welfare. Now, the same thing is happening at the health sector. The same thing at the agricultural sector. So when people say we should begin to think of ideas, all of these are ideas. Health, you know, systems are ideas. Educational systems are ideas. They are all ideas. when you take care of all of this, and then you talk about ideology and all of that, ideology will develop from there. What you are looking at now is how do you tackle these things? That's your policy. Policies combined together and then sustain. This is what we call ideology. So these are the issues that will shape 2027. And that is the reason why the ruling party is jittery. Because they didn't do anything to ameliorate these problems that we have in terms of insecurity and in terms of warfare. And so that's why we say they seize any legitimacy to become government. Because, I mean, if you have not addressed these two principal, demands of the Constitution and of the people, then what legitimate right do you have to continue to say you want to be in government? So that's what I'm saying.
All right, interesting submission. I see Ibrahim Momo just smiling when Chris Njikere was saying all of those things. Seems you're eager to speak, but I also love you to add the fact that it seems unofficially campaign had already begun in Nigeria, because at some point in some parts of the country we had billboards of some certain political parties. We had persons already speaking and inciting, giving insightful statements in the political scene in Nigeria. Please go ahead.
Well, on that last leg, I think there's so much indiscipline. The demographic that is most indisciplined in Nigeria are the politicians themselves. Those leaders and potential leaders, they are the most indisciplined. So even when we had a timetable that spells out when campaigns ought to have started, we are seeing in analysis, both on print and social and even broadcast media, or billboards, we are seeing a lot of campaigning going on long before the official time. So that is a given. Nigerian politicians are the most indisciplined anyway among Nigerian citizens. So I'm not surprised that has happened. It's only going to ratchet up now that it has now officially begun. Maybe and they can also degenerate to name calling, mudslinging, and all manners of deleterious politicking that we do in this country. That's one. Then also to agree with my brother and friend Chris that in truth the issue of welfare and security are very critical issues that have beset Nigeria or affect Nigeria. When we talk about security, oftentimes people look at security from the traditional conception, national security, how secure is Nigeria. But we're not talking about security really. What we're talking about is security of lives and property. That is the intendment or the purpose, the constitution designed primarily for political office holders. But security indeed is going much beyond that. Even in contemporary sense, we have issues around food security. A country that cannot feed itself is an insecure state. And of course, human security. At the epicenter of all security strategy is the human being, the citizen. If government security is about regime security or territorial integrity, then we have missed the point. How many attacks have we had this year? Have they gone up or gone up? Those are traditional conceptions. Countries don't talk about security in those contexts. The Nigerian citizen, what is his quality of life? What is the standard of living? What prospect does he have for the future? This is the conception of human security, where security is in the current sense. So again, I agree with him in the context of protection of life and property, security primarily, and of course welfare and good governance of the people.
Okay. Well, even though there are those who would actually say that how long too long would we continue like this and keep on hearing the same rhetorics every single time? Insecurity, welfare, good roads. I mean, it feels like we're still in the 90s or 80s right here in the country. When are we going to move away from that? Now, I'm moving over to you, Mr. Liberty. Right, but I also love you to weigh in on this. On the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning, we saw in the news that 571 billion campaign spending limit is actually been set aside for presidential and governorship candidates. Subwriter says Tinubu, Atiku, Obi, Makinde, 15 presidential candidates allowed 190 billion naira campaign spend. New electoral act sets 500 million naira ceiling on individual donations. INEC says it will monitor campaign spendings. And finally, 127 governorship candidates get 381 billion naira campaign spending limits. Electoral advocacy bodies urge strict compliance. I had a conversation earlier with Mr. Ibrahim Momo, and he said that the figures could even be more.
Thank you very much, Ms. Anu. I really appreciate my fathers in the house. One thing we should know as Nigerians is that if we don't read our history or we don't ask about our history, repeat our history unknowing. And over the years, just like you said before you asked the question, was we have been hearing rhetoric, same thing. Our campaigns have been monologue over the years. Citizens are not beginning of to ask questions. And even if they should ask, they don't even ask in the right context, and they don't have power to demand those answers from the politicians. And that is one of the reasons I believe necessitated the creation of the electoral law. The new 2026 electoral act that was approved addressed this issue of campaign spending, where they give a cap on the presidential candidates, state governor, senate, and House of Assembly. I think it was 10 billion for the presidents, 5 billion for the governors, something 2.5 for the senate or something like that, just as the case may be. So if they are saying cumulatively that this is donation per person, just like I heard when the newspaper article got an alert and started to raise an alarm. Officially, the Electoral Act should have penalized, given a punishment for each spending that goes beyond the ceiling. So people, the INEC or whatever the body that is in charge of forcing those punishments should be up and doing. I know our constitution and most of our these politicians, when they pass law is on paper, but in practice it's not done. But not for me. The citizens now should be given encouragement to come out and vote. Because this irregularities, this complaining, this everything will continue again, because if you don't come out to vote, there will be room for ringing. Just like Oshun election that just was held a few weeks back, back. It was what people came out to stand by their mandates and their candidates and what has been going on in the states. So people, these questions will come, the question of insecurity, poverty, inflation, will continue going on if people don't come out to vote. Mobilization is very important. Mobilization over the years has been manipulative and it has been weaponized. Citizens don't even know who to vote for because there's that voter apathy. People are no longer interested. It's like when you tell them nationally to come out and vote, they choose not to be involved because they've seen violence, they've seen corruption, they've seen ringing, and they even tell you that their vote does not count. All these figures, all these things will continue going on because people are not talking, coming to come out and vote. And I must say, this spending, whatever it may be, it should be checked by the sector involved or the ministry or the department that is involved to check it. But we hear right here now, every actions of political parties or the INEC should first of all talk to our citizens to come out, go get their PVCs, and collect their PVCs and vote on that day.
Okay, let me move back to you, Chris Okedere. Now, so many things to actually ask, but I want to start with the voters, the people, because he made mention of the fact that we don't even know the right questions to ask. Now, the question is, how can voters actually differentiate between political propaganda and campaign promises? And I would love us to be so practical, because I feel like this is the period where a lot of Nigerians are going to see some of these political bigwigs on the streets, roasting corn, we'd even see some of them washing clothes and doing a whole lot of things that we'll not see them do on a normal day. Don't you think that is also being hypocritical rather than facing the main issues in Nigeria?
Well, who is to blame for your laziness? I mean, you take full responsibility for your laziness. Knowledge is in free space. And it is your duty as a citizen to avail yourself of knowledge in free space. If you have an attitude to say, for instance, that it is we against them, and you refuse to participate in political processes, you refuse to study, you have your handset, and you spend all the time on Instagram looking at the latest faction and the latest vehicles and hairstyles and all of that, whereas you have the same opportunity to read up all the news. As an educator, when I mean educator, after primary 6, if you went to a good school, you should be able to read and understand, and then secondary school and then university. And you refuse to participate, even if remotely, using your handset to understand what's going on. I mean, I've met adults your age, and I'm talking politics, and she's like, he's like, it's as if you're talking abstractions, and she says, no, that's not my world, because they don't understand their civic responsibilities and duty, and their responsibilities as citizens. So you can't heap all of that on the politicians. The politicians put themselves out there every day on the space. And so they challenge you to challenge them. You are not challenging them, so that's your responsibility. I mean, I was shocked when he said citizens might not even know who to vote. That just tells you the level of our laziness. Nobody is going to come to your house and tell you that I am the worst person, don't vote for me, vote for the other person. It is yours to study, to find out what's going on. And then you're able to discern. You don't have political discernment. And you look at track records. You look at antecedents. You're able to tell, I mean, even in your community, you can tell those who have achieved things, rightly, those who have integrity. And I mean, these are the same people that go into politics. So you should be able to track their antecedents, track their track records, and say, look, this one is 400. I mean, somebody suddenly comes up when it's just 3 months to election and he begins to do all those stunts that you just talked about. Right. And you're not able to discern as a citizen that this one is doing these stunts for politics. Whereas there's another one who may not have the deep pocket, who's been around, talking to you as community, finding solutions to problems in the community, and now he's in politics. But you say, that man already not get money. It's always say already, now everybody for vote for. So that is our collective problem.
In that case, do you think we're part of the problem?
We?
Yes.
We are the major part of the problem. Nigerians are the major part of the problem. It's the laziest country I've seen in the world. Go around small nations, Togo and so on and so forth, and then you find the young man in the village, he's talking intelligently about the politics. He's talking intelligently about how it's governed. We are the laziest people in the world. We believe in, we are comedians. That's why I say everybody go into comedy. We believe in going to the stage and being seen and then performing all sorts of, that's our problem. I mean, we are supposed to be the most enlightened country in Africa. You know, I mean, we claim that on paper. But when it comes to those issues that affect our life, that affect policies and programs of government, that has a bearing on your daily life, you find people think that it is sophisticated to avoid it. So we are the major part of the problem, and it is that our ignorance that politicians are manipulating. Right. You see 2 people talking to 2 politicians, and you expect the city to say, no, you are a fake because of this. The one that is fake gets all the spotlight, and the one that is genuine, so long as it doesn't have the deep pocket, doesn't get it. Okay, for example, you just see people vilifying a particular candidate. I say, give me why you vilifying him. He doesn't have any reason. He has inherited an antipathy from Obasanjo's book, which he has never read, and then he begins to say Atiku is corrupt, Atiku is corrupt. And so they give me evidence of Atiku's corruption, so he doesn't have it. He has just borrowed it from a neighbor, and then he starts talking about it. That's propaganda in itself. So it's not just what the politician says. If you begin to propagate opinions that do not have factual basis, that's propaganda.
Well, speaking about Obasanjo and Atiku's dispute, I feel if we delve into that conversation, we'll not even leave here at this point.
It's part of the elections. We will shape the elections.
Oh my goodness. Now let me move over to you, Mr. Ibrahim Momoh. Let's talk about accountability. Now, during the past election, there was this interestingly trending campaign slogan that we heard, or should I call it manifesto now, when President Bola Tinubu said, if we do not give you electricity, do not vote us back in, hold us accountable and all of that. Now, how can Nigerians hold candidates accountable with all of the promises that's going to be made during this period?
Well, for me, I think the first thing has to do with ideology. The contradistinction, what differentiates Party A from Party B ought to be ideology. What ideological standpoints, what difference do they have in terms of program and plans? But what we see primarily in Nigeria is that we do not have political parties, strictly sensu. You could see an individual wake up in Party A today, by sunset it will be in Party B. And the maybe before we even have the chance to go to bed, they have already gone to Party C. It happened in Nigeria. A particular candidate within a space of 4 years have been in 5 parties.
You want to mention them?
No, I don't even need to do that. Because it's something, it's public knowledge. It's public knowledge. But as an example, you know, first of all, what is the difference with all sense of responsibility between the ADC, the APC, the LP, the AD? What difference? Which one is pro-free education, and the other one is anti-free education? One is private funded. Which one is for universal health care, and the other one says no. The health care should be paid for and quality. Which one is a very adventurous foreign policy? Which one is, you know? We don't have in all sorts of a difference between it is so when we don't have that, when we have that kind of level of distinction among political parties. What we call political parties, what we are going to see is that individuals are the ones who are driving the process. Not ideology, not political parties, but just individuals. And those individuals are carried on the grounds of primordial sentimentalism. This one is from my place. And the other one is we share the same religion. You know, we speak the same, we are from the same ethnic stock. You know, that is what drives the differences now. Primordial sentiments.
Right.
And when you have this kind of that kind of foreground or background, you know, of our political space, we are not sure, we are not certain that we're going to get the best, because you don't even know what choices are before you. It's only names, not ideology, not what is not welfare package, nothing different.
Do we even have political parties and politicians who operate ideological base in the country? That's another question.
With all due respect, I have argued this repeatedly that in Nigeria we do not have any political party, because at the heart of political parties is ideology. Another thing is that even when it comes to funding a political party, it is membership funding. When it comes to the leadership, it is the members at the grassroots that choose their leaders. So it's a bottom-up, political parties are bottom-up institutions. And then, in terms of ideology, something should separate party A from party B. But when you look at other political parties, across board, there's no difference.
Right. Anyway, if you're just joining onto This Morning on ITV, and we have been talking about campaigning in Nigeria, setting the agenda straight. We'll quickly take a short break, and when we return our attention over to the National Peace Corps meeting that held a couple of days right here in Nigeria. As Nigeria looks ahead to the 2027 general elections, calls for peaceful, credible, and transparent elections are taking center stage. Now, the National Peace Accord remains an important platform for encouraging political parties and candidates to commit to issue-based campaigns, respect the electoral process, and reject violence before, during, and after the polls. But beyond signing agreements, how effective are these commitments in shaping political conduct? What mechanisms are in place to hold political actors accountable? And can the Peace Accord help prevent tensions and violence as election approaches? Well, we now examine the National Peace Accord for the 2027 general elections, its significance, the responsibilities of political actors, and what it will take to ensure that Nigeria's next electoral process is peaceful and credible. Now, let me start with you, Mr. Liberty. During the course of the meeting, we interestingly didn't see our president, and that raised a lot of questions. And not just him, Atiku Abubakar of the ADC was also absent at that event, even though the president sent the SGF, Secretary to the General of the Federation, George Akume, to represent him. But a lot of Nigerians asked why he was absent at that critical meeting. Okay, there are those who would say that it's the first one, we're going to have a second one, but shouldn't he have been present there? And what does that signal to the populace?
Thank you very much. The Peace Accord, I think it was initiated by Gowon and the former head of state, Abdulsalam Abubakar. This is not the first time they are doing Peace Accord. Over the years, I think it should be more than 4 or 5 thereabouts, 4 times. The peace accord is on paper for me over the years with past experience. It has been on paper. Because 2015, when there were issues of violence and nation even coming up, but when people were threatening, when people were making statements of deaths during that election, the peace accord did not come, they did not even address anything. There was no warning, there was no punishment, and there was no sanction. So I'm not surprised that the big wigs are never coming to sign the peace accord. Because over the years, it has proven that it's just on paper, and the paper is even tissue paper. So I wouldn't want to advocate, I'm not the spokesperson why they were there, or should tell them why they're there, or I'm not to campaign for them to demarket them or market them. But all I'm saying that, where does Nigeria stand the peace accord? Because on the nation we are vulnerable. Peace accord does not come. It does not even help us. Every campaign, every national purpose campaign, INEC, the main person, important people in the nation is the citizens. And the citizens are the ones they are campaigning to. The citizens are the ones that will vote, and their vote will be counted. But the citizens are the most vulnerable people on election day. And the peace accord, I don't know if you even address them. Those ones that are calling for debates, they don't come. Calling for peace accord, they don't come. They are the most protected persons on election day. So the peace accord is for them. Citizens is what I'm concerned about. And that peace accord has over the years not helped Nigerians, not addressed the issues. And I don't see it changing. So it's not surprising that the president is not there in person, or the other candidate is not there in person, because we all know that is as important as tissue paper.
Okay, now interestingly, we have the ADC spokesperson, Edo State chapter, right here. I would love you to react to why we didn't see Atiku Abubakar, your political figure, right there at the event.
Yeah, first, let's talk about the intent of the peace accord. It's something we respect very well. But there's no other source of information that would supply you more enlightenment than Onayekan's complaint himself. Onayekan said even the members of the peace accord, those who are elected or appointed, right, hardly come these days. They are disappointed and disillusioned because it has repeatedly failed. I think he was trying to refer to the do or die statement of Obasanjo when he was talking about 2007 or something. Yeah, so that was after signing the peace accord. The next statement that came out was that politics was a do or die thing. And the present president has just told you that he's not going to roll out the red carpet for the opposition even when he loses election. So you find inflammatory statements from actors of those in political circle. You have never heard such a thing from Atiku Abubakar. He's a strong believer in the peace accord. He was indisposed. That is why he didn't come. So we believe in the ADC, in the intent of that peace. It's a voluntary, act to say, look, we all agree that we shall maintain peace. We shall work by the tenets of democracy and by the rule of law and by the rules that guide election. So, but you see, unfortunately, the committee has no power to enforce, and they have no power to compel you to abide by it. So those who have been failing over the years are still the same people who commit infraction against the Nigerian Constitution, which is the ground norm. If presidents can flout the Constitution and do what they like, is it a mere voluntary peace accord that they will feel committed to? So it's still the same problem that we are dealing with here. We can only advise those who talk about do or die and not rolling our red carpet to change their attitude, to say, look, let's talk peace every time we are talking. Every time Atiku is talking democracy, he's talking about rule of law. He has never uttered a statement that shows inflammation or heating up the policy.
Okay, well let's move over to you now, Ibrahim Omo. Judging from what the two gentlemen have said, would it be right to say that it's dead on arrival, the peace accord situation?
Well, I don't think it's dead on arrival. The peace accord, even though it is purely symbolic, it does not. There are no sanctions attached.
Right.
There are no real commitments.
Wait, hold on a second. Just before you go on with your thoughts, I would also love you to, link it up with what happened in the just concluded Osun governorship election, where we had the peace accord meeting and event and the signing, but it was still brutal. I mean, the pre-electionary period was almost as brutal as hell, with the person actually dying.
Yes.
So, what difference would he actually make?
Well, the issue would be, one, that there's symbolism. If you say you're a man of peace, at least symbolically show us that you're a man of peace. So that's why the symbolism, even though it is symbolic, it's not compelling, it's also still important. And that's why the gentleman here made the point that it's not only one. This is just the initial one. Of course, just in the run-up to, I think, the last final week of the election, where the INEC chairman will be seated, the police IGP will be, there will be another signing. That one happens. Number two is that oftentimes we refer to our legislators or our politicians as, or political officials as honorable. If a thing of honor, especially that a honorable person will honor agreements, even though they are not cast in stone. If you append a signature to something, you should be honorable enough to stick by it. But the truth is that the electoral violence that is being perpetrated is not only done by politicians themselves, not the key players themselves. It is their supporters, their lackeys, their hangers-on that are used to perpetrate this violence. You will not see, for example, the candidates of Party A or Party B personally involved. You may not even hear him say some of these, especially some of these rhetorics. But in the dead of the night, in the confines of their spaces, they can, commission people to go and commit all these nefarious activities. And that's where the challenge is. So I think that, even though it is symbolic, it's important that as men who claim to be honorable, they should act in a manner of honor.
Okay, well, back to you, Mr. Omori. Now, what could be some of those, major factors that could trigger political violence ahead of the 2027 general election? Already, we've been seeing some of them play out with insightful statements. I mean, the just concluded election in Osun State, pretty much a litmus test for INEC and a precedent to the 2027 general election. We saw Senator Fada Husi, who said a lot of things. And, how really can we checkmate all of that?
For me, as citizens, we are not going to know these persons, because out of the body of the heart, the mouth speaketh. So we know all these persons. We know what they can do and what they are prepared for. For you to tell your people that people of the opposition party should be mishandled during an election, it shows that that person is ready for blood. He's ready for a do or die affair. And this is what the Electoral Act was passed for. That any religious statements, any ethnic statements, any financial inducements, whatever violence, any weaponization should be punished. I would not want to say that citizens should be the one to go and apprehend them, but we take note of them. But the military person, the parastatal or military outfit that is responsible to punish this person should be up and doing. You can't tell me that prior to 2015, it was even over 2015, and this one, and even the state government election, when somebody said they will bomb, if the election does not go its way, they will bomb the states. These statements were taken note of, and these persons were not punished. Imagine the senator that was saying in Osun State, if not for the grace of God, of which the grace of God that if he had his way, as maybe he was the person that owns the military, he would have kept people because the election did not go his way that day. And thank God they never succeeded. But we as citizens, I keep saying it, no matter the form of misinformation, manipulation they want to do, we should be aware, we should be abreast, just like what Mr. Chris said. We should take the bull by the horn. Our voters card should not just be a sign of punishment, but to prove a point that we are the owners of this country. We are the legitimacy of any government comes from us. The reason why the politicians can say anything, because they feel that with or without the citizens, they can go, because they have access to everything, and they can do with or without us. But by the time the citizens rise up like the way they rise up in Osun and some of that previous election, people will know that yes, this was getting serious, because citizens that are not participating in elections are citizens that can be cajoled and manipulated. So citizens should be able to use their voters card to prove a point and make a statement. And the reason why rigging continue to go on, manipulation going to go on, because citizens don't even come out en masse. And because that's the reason why these people are doing what they are doing. So I keep saying it. Citizens have the right, just in 2011 presidential election, the voter participation and the vote in the election processes has been reducing day by day. And I pray and hope that we wake up this time.
Okay, as we're turning to Coast Hill, Mr. Chris, let's talk about the citizens. How can we ensure that we don't have persons laying down their lives towards because of election, and ensuring that you don't get to be used as political tools in the hands of those bigwigs?
The truth of the matter is that I think that the Osun voters have not been given enough credit. Before the election day, Osun has lost about over 40 citizens.
Right.
Over 40. And you would think that that would have deterred the voters, you know, made them give up, or at least have voters apathy. But Osun didn't do that. Osun stayed on course. They kept their eyes on the goal. They took those who fell as martyrs of democracy. And God rewarded them. Just a few days to the election proper, we found an APC candidate with his gang of killers. Because the only reason why you own a submachine gun or an AK-47 is to use it to kill. You can't tell me that you're using it for deterrence. If you're using it for deterrence, you'll be having what they call cock and shoot, or barrel, or whatever you'll be having. But the moment you've been able to acquire assault rifles, sophisticated weapons, the intention is to use it to commit carnage. If not for naval officers that apprehended those young men, they'll think of the number of people they would have killed with AK-47 and so on that they had in their possession. So the point is that it is government's responsibility to provide security for its citizens. Citizens must not be told to be afraid to exercise their rights and their civic responsibilities. I will encourage citizens to continue, just as the last speaker said. Citizens must take up this commitment and know that election processes is theirs. The voters' outcome is theirs. So they have to participate. We have to keep asking government to protect citizens. And any government that is in power and is not protecting citizens from being killed because of election, that is the first reason why you must vote out that government. Over 40 people dead in Osun. APC has no right to win that election, and thank God that Osun voters responded to that and made sure that the government that wants to come and overthrow the performing Governor Adeleke could not succeed. Nigeria must take a cue for that for 2027. It is only when we punish irresponsible government for not carrying out their responsibilities that we are going to find that security that we are asking for. And the only way to punish them is to come out en masse and vote out that government. So we cannot, for instance, start to defend ourselves or advise our citizens to start to defend themselves. That would lead to anarchy and chaos. We must continue to call on government to provide that security that citizens need before the election.
Okay, well, let me move over to you, Ibrahim Momoh. You want to add to what he said with regards to the role of citizen in all of this, moving on to 2027 election?
Well, the first thing is that in an election cycle, there are different categories of stakeholders. You have the election management body, the electoral empire, INEC, for example, in this instance. You have the media, or the watchdog. You have election observers. You have political parties and their candidates. But of all these stakeholders, you even have the security. The critical stakeholder is the electorate. If all other stakeholder comes out on election day and no citizen come out to vote, there can't be a result. So first of all, the citizens, the electorate must know how valuable they are in the process. They are the critical stakeholder. They own the process, literally. So embracing, in the last presidential election, as it was then, there were 93 million registered voters, only 28 million came out to vote. That's very abysmal, less than 1/3.
Absolutely, that's really a whole lot. But really have to go at this point right now. Because of the time, I really must thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of the show. I have been speaking to Ibrahim Momoh, political analyst. Thank you so much for your time indeed on the show. And also, Chris Ojekiri, Edo State ADC spokesperson. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Mr. Liberty Omori, political analyst. Thank you for your time on the show today. Well, it's up to you, Nigerians, to do the needful come 2027. Remember to vote for your conscience and look at all of those political candidates critically and ensure that you vote in the right person for the different positions. Now, that's my bit this morning on the show. We'll take a short break, and when we return, Abuja studio takes over from here.
In less than 5 months, Nigerians will be going to the polls to elect for themselves the president, the next president, as well as those that will be representing them at the National Assembly level. According to INEC Times table, presidential and national election is supposed to will hold on the 16th of January 2027. Now the issues are, as campaign kicks off, what happens to governance? It is no longer news that whenever there is campaign, whenever it is the campaign period, the governance of the country tends to take a back seat. Is this what is going to be happening? Are we going to be seeing that? What impact will this presidential election, this campaign, have on the course of governance, on developmental issues as far as Nigeria's growth and development is concerned? To discuss this with me in the studio, I have, by my far right, I have Ebenezer Amadi. He is a public affairs analyst. You're welcome, sir.
Yes, thank you. Morning.
And also in the middle, we have a friend and also an APC chieftain. Glad to have you, Sam Eke. You're welcome.
Good morning, viewers.
Now, the first question, I'll put it to you as an APC chieftain. Campaigns are starting, and by January, we are going to the polls to elect our own, the next president. And the APC is saying it has done enough and a lot for Nigerians to give them a second chance come 2027. What do you have to say to that?
Well, government is continual. The party is doing its best. The party is doing more, and I hope the presidency would see reason to keep governance running and at the same time campaigns running concurrently. Governance is different from the party. The party will take the affairs of campaigns, while people in government should take care of day-to-day running of government activity. That's my own view.
But it's the same person, the same people in government are the same people that will be campaigning. Governors will all trip in, the president will be campaigning, every other person.
Let me explain. There's bureaucracy in government. If you're campaigning, you will not shut down government because you're campaigning. You have civil servants who are the ones actually, the technocrats who are executing these programs and projects of government. They will be in their offices. Contractors are the ones doing contracts for government.
And there are supervising ministers who are supposed to be supervising these contracts. Yes, that will also be on the campaign trail.
Of the president. It's not a must a minister will be on the campaign trail on every daily basis. It's only when the president is coming to my state as a minister. That's the only day I would have reasons to go and leave the office and welcome the president there. So it doesn't mean that everybody will shut down governance and follow campaigns. And moreover, the way campaigns are structured these days, you have party faithfuls from the national level of the party to the units, polling units in the country. So if you have that, the party faithfuls are the ambassadors of the party to represent the party, to speak on what the government have done over time. If the government have done NEL fund for Nigerian students, if the government have settled ASU, and ASU have not gone on strike since the inception of this administration, if the Minister of Works is doing roads and have turned the country to a construction site, if power has improved above 18 hours a day in a large chunk of areas in the country, you know, specific issues should be brought on the table. Tell the people what you know the government have done, and tell the people what you think the government can do further. But if government is shut down, 5 months is a long period. Things can break down some places, so somebody must supervise. So moving forward, government will run concurrently with campaigns.
Let me cut it short. I'm coming to you, Ebenezer Amadi. And my question to you is, looking at how everything is going, I want you as a Nigerian sincerely to assess the present administration.
Thank you very much. Just like you said, to sincerely assess as a Nigerian, the fact remains that this present government, they have failed in terms of delivering good governance to Nigerians. And when you look at the realities on ground, you will find out that a lot of people, majority of Nigerians currently are actually in poverty, because this government came up with a couple of reforms and policies which actually affected the entire economy, whereby a whole lot, the cost of living skyrocketed, it increased. And you see it affected the cost of food, it affected transportation, it affected housing, education, and virtually everything. So this government, for me, they failed when it comes to assessment, because right now the number of people from suffering poverty in Nigeria, it has increased. We saw what happened when the subsidy was removed. The government failed to put in place the right mechanisms to removal is properly, so that it will not.
Are you now saying that because Sam Eke reeled out of development ongoing, and Nel Fund is talking about the roads construction everywhere in the country? According to him, I am quoting him, that Nigeria has become a construction site, and a lot of other, and ASU as well has not gone on strike. So are you saying these are not developments by this government? Is not enough?
The fact is, how many roads have they constructed? That's the question. And you don't even call that development. How many jobs were created by this government? How many health care hospitals were built by this government? We are talking about things that will affect the life of average Nigerian
Are you saying
citizens.
roads do not affect the average?
Yeah, it affects both.
Actually is for the indigents, for people who cannot afford to pay their way through school.
How many people are benefiting from it? We are talking about entire Nigeria comprising of over 200 million people. How many of them have access to these opportunities? We're talking about road construction. Majority of the roads in Nigeria, they are still very bad. If you go from travel from let's say from Abuja going to east, you will still see that many of the paths are still not good. They are still working on it. So when you can't just say road construction is enough. When you are talking about development, you should talk about the healthcare. How many hospitals were actually built by this administration? Can people access good healthcare in Nigeria?
I can see that you're itching to say something. This is a challenge. In fact, this is getting interesting, yes, because I like the way this conversation is going. So you, Sanike, you will do well to elaborate more.
I would say nothing is perfect. But since he admitted that some roads are being constructed.
No, he actually said how many.
Yeah, I want to explain. He mentioned the Southeast. From any state to any other state around the Southeast has good road.
Wow.
Yes, I attest to it. From Ebonyi to Enugu, Enugu to Owerri, Owerri to Umuahia, Umuahia, Owerri, Olu, Oka. These are no potholes.
Is this not because the Minister of Works is from that region?
No. You see, the effect of subsidy removal has prompted governors to return these funds into where every single person from that area will benefit.
Wow.
Because I am plying the road, you are plying the road, every other Nigerian is plying the road. It's meant for everybody, commuters.
He talks about healthcare.
Then I will come there. He talked about Nel Fund. Nelfund does not know anybody, does not see anybody, but every student of Nigeria who has applied for Nelfund is getting it. You don't need to know anybody. You don't need to just go into the internet, apply for it, and your school fees will be taken care of by government. Maybe you don't know.
Not for free though, because you have to pay back.
See, nobody's dropping out from school because I don't have money to pay school fees. ASU can no longer wake up and say we are going on strike because the government have taken over. See, one of the basic problems of Nigeria was the educational system was being disrupted. You hear strike here, strike there, strike here, strike there. That has gone. Secondly, let's talk about healthcare. Healthcare, I live in Abuja, and I can tell you healthcare in FCT is top-notch.
Which area in FCT?
Let me tell you, the general hospitals in FCT.
Which one now? Which one? They are yes, they are on. So which one is top-notch?
You can look at us.
Typically, elite is that.
The elites,
these are situated in elitist environment.
The elites you talk about, you know, these so-called elites fly out of this country once they have headache. You know it.
But chances are anybody can go there to supervise for inspection.
These are places I have gone to. I have gone to the specialist hospital in Gwagwalada, the teaching hospital in Gwagwalada. It's top-notch. So when people talk out of their comfort zone that, oh, the government is not doing enough, let me tell you, Nigerians were so comfortable with free money without doing anything.
Now.
If you're a business person in this country, you would understand that in the last 3 years and since the period of the president, since the president into government, you will find out that business have been moving without obstruction.
Okay, hold your thoughts because we have limited time. Ebenezer, I would like you to. We have presidential candidates, and the top three, or let's say top four, we have the incumbent president, that's President Bola Tinubu. We have the former vice president, Atiku Abubakar. We have Peter Obi also contesting. And the top three, let's just say the top three, and a host of others that are contesting. What will you want presidential candidates, anybody who is coming in as a president, to focus on as far as Nigeria is concerned?
No, in fact, there are a lot of major areas that any person coming into Nigeria as a president will focus on, because Nigeria is like there is really nothing going on. Exactly. You know, because
sure?
Yes, like for instance, when you're talking about, let me start from security. We don't have security in the country. Currently, we live in a country where bandits wake up, they go to a school and kidnap school children. We live in a country where kidnappers kidnap people on a daily basis and request for ransom. We live in a country where terrorists go to communities and, you know, kill people, massacre them. So we don't even have security. And when we're talking about the economy, the economy has not really improved. A lot of people are still under serious poverty. The cost of living is very high. The food, people can't even afford food. We are talking about minimum wage of 70,000 naira. What can 70,000 naira do for an average in Nigeria? You can't even buy, it is not even sustainable for you to feed your household. Not to talk about other things like house rent. House rent now is on the high side. So any person that is coming on must address both the economy and the security. Because right now, the policies that were introduced by this government, it affected the cost of living. For instance, the removal of subsidy and the floating of naira, it led to inflation, whereby people that were earning 200,000 naira before, it was enough for them. But when this the floating of naira policy came up and the removal of subsidy, it increased the cost of living. whereby something that you can buy for 10,000 naira before this government took over, you can no longer buy it. It increased to 50,000 naira. House rent increased. Even electricity, it increased. Everything increased. So any person coming in must address the economy of the country so that it will actually be conducive for an average Nigerian.
Okay, Sam, you said you painted like a rosy picture. Everything is no. Let me land. Good healthcare system, road construction, and everything. If all this is happening, and if I were to go by what you're saying, and to give a percentage of what to score this present administration, maybe you likely give them 70%.
No, you see, you don't give out just marks. Right?
Okay, now we talked about, Amadi talked about poverty. Are you aware that currently 139 or 140 million Nigerians live below poverty line?
Well,
is that not worrisome?
You always have the rich.
Is that not worrisome in a country where population is estimated to be 200 or 230 million, and then we have like 140 million of them?
We always have the poor and the rich living side by side in every society.
Of course.
Yes, there is poverty. Yes, there are issues with policies of government in recent time. Nobody is saying there is no issue. But is the government doing its best to unravel most of this problem, to change the narrative? Yes. When we talk about insecurity, it was extremely high before now.
You see, this is one thing that Nigerians do not want to hear. Because you know why? Anytime an APC member wants to speak about insecurity, they will say it was worse before.
When I mean before now, I'm not talking about 5 years ago. I'm talking about we in this administration. It came up so high until government is working day and night.
It's still very high.
You know, I want to explain.
Because even within FCT, early in the morning, whether at night or morning or whatever, going out.
Are you hearing me?
Is a problem.
Government is working with security agencies day and night to curb this mess. This mess is not a mess you can just think you wipe out. The problem of insecurity has been there because society have refused taking responsibility. You don't explain in a state where you have, or in a region where you have 10 million out of school children, and you expect
13 million actually.
No, they used to say it's 10 million.
13 million.
Over the period of 20 years. What will these kids become?
Okay, so you are now so you are now attributing the high level of insecurity to a particular region that has a higher.
I am not taking it to a particular region first. I'm giving you how to solve this problem.
You do know that there is a statistics that divided actually these things. The north and the southeast actually has the highest number of out of school children.
Yes, but the southeast.
The southwest has the lowest.
See, the southeast has an entrepreneurial training system that even though you don't go to school, they have something they call Eba Boy. You have to serve a master to learn a trade or learn something so that you can survive.
Okay, the one that you serve the master for 7 years, when you're supposed to, when the master is supposed to settle you, he will now frame you up, and then has that actually, that is another conversation, it's a conversation for another day. Because you and I know that that particular system has not solved insecurity.
That's the best system of entrepreneurship all around the world. They studied by other people from other parts of the world. It has worked. One thing about knowledge is once you get it, Nobody can take it.
Okay, what will you want your government
to? What I want the presidential candidates to do is they
especially your own for presidential
candidates. They should stick on the issues.
Okay, we're talking about opposition.
Everybody should stick on the issues. What the government have done, what the government have not done.
All right.
I am an APC person, and I will tell you, the government must have not done everything perfectly. But the trajectory to taking us to somewhere better, the government is doing that. The governors, why the governors flew into APC in their droves is because they see what a lot of people have not seen.
I beg, let me I don't have 3 minutes to go. I have 3 minutes. I have 3 minutes to go.
In a football match,
I have 3 minutes to go because
you see
we don't want to go into that. We don't want to go into that. I just have 3 minutes, and I want Ebenezer here to say something. Election is coming 2027. There's going to be January 2027, Presidential and National Assembly 16th January 2027. There's going to be school fees, wahala, people will be going back to school. Do you see Nigerians coming out to vote, especially the youth?
Yes, I see Nigerians coming out to vote. You know, the new Electoral Act, that's the Electoral Act 2026, it also made introduction of new developments that will actually strengthen our electoral system, in the sense that we have the introduction of the mandatory accreditation of voters using the BVAS, and also the transmission of the election results from the polling unit to the IRF portal directly. So I feel the introduction of the new Electoral Act will actually bring transparency and accountability, thereby is going to boost the confidence of the electorate. And when you take, for instance, this recent election that was conducted in Osun State, we saw that there was an improvement of voters' turnout. We saw about 40% of voters that came out, and they recorded the highest turnout of voters in that state. So, a lot of people would come out to vote because I've suffered.
So I'll take that as a final word. And, what played that state?
Well, you have an
we saw governors, even the president
party have told you he's supporting President. It played out in Osun is that the government performed within the period governor was in the election. I can tell you, the former governor, to me, did so well. Adeleke wouldn't come in. And he's doing, and the people want
he dances way back in governor's house.
You cannot remove a man, whether he's in my party or
this is the consequence from my thank you very much. Thank APC affairs analyst. Thank you very much for being part of the program.
Yeah.
And viewers, this is where we draw the curtain from Abuja Network Studio. We will be handing over to Lagos after this break. Stay tuned.
have Dr. Ohai here with me. We'll be doing this together. Doctor, good to see you this morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Great. Fine.
And also our guest this morning that would help us talk on to this topic is Mr. Festus Akobondu. He is a political analyst. Good morning.
Good morning, Lina.
And good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thank you for joining on the program.
Happy to be here.
All right, this morning we're going to be looking at 2027 election impact effect of signing peace accord. On August 18, 2 days ago, 2026, presidential candidates and political parties signed the first national peace accord ahead of 2027 general elections, committing themselves to peaceful issue-based campaigns and rejecting violence, hate speech, personal attacks, and other conduct capable of undermining the electoral process. The signing came one day before the official commencement of campaigns on August 19, which was yesterday. We know that the commencement of campaign, the president started officially yesterday. The accord is particularly important because Nigerians' political campaigns have historically been associated with inflammatory misinformation, personal attacks, and in some cases, violence. And also, the INEC chairman, Professor Joash Amupitan, urged politicians to make the campaign a marketplace of idea, not a theater of war. He wants candidates, to explain to Nigerians what they intend to do about issues such as economy, security, and education, rather than concentrating on attacking the opponent. Okay. And also, among those people that who signed or who were represented there were the SGF, George Akume, who represented President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and a lot of persons were saying, the president was not there. But I mean, it was represented by George Akume. Peter Obi was there, was also there. Adebayo of the Social Democratic Party was there, and some other political candidates also and leaders were there. But another key person that wasn't there was Atiku, and it has gotten a lot of people talking. We know he's one of the key candidates. He wasn't there, and Tinubu also wasn't there, but he was represented by the SGF, George Akume. So today there's a lot to talk about on this issue, and of course we're still going to be talking about the campaigning that just started yesterday ahead of 2027 election. Dr. Victor, let's hear it from you before we go to the guests.
Okay, so 2018, I went through the same exercise before the 2019 elections because I was a candidate then. And we were there physically to do this. I don't see why. You cannot ask, this is not by proxy. It's a personally that I will not understand. Nobody can do that on your behalf. It's an oath. You cannot swear an oath on behalf of somebody. So I'm just wondering, I did if my, I know go agree, I know go my language. These two, and they are doing it. I wonder what we have ahead. But sure, we'll be talking about that. What are your thoughts? I mean,
well, first of all, listeners need to understand that if we have a working system, i.e., the correct norms, the correct constitution, robust constitution, the strong institutions, that a peace accord is not necessary. It's not actually necessary. The reason why we are signing a peace accord is because we are not well-behaved people, well-brought-up people. Yeah. So I just want to put that out there first.
Yes.
So the reason why there's a peace accord is because we don't behave ourselves. We don't even understand the tenets of the democracy we are talking about. Yeah. And I mean, from time immemorial, the political theorists from Plato to Aristotle to even the modern day ones, one of their arguments against democracy is why we're here discussing this. And one of those democracy, or one of the demerits, as you argue it, is that because of the short-termism and election cycle, you are always in this space where people are contesting, yeah? And because we don't have a level playing, a fair system that enables people to contest freely without fear or favor, that's why we're signing a peace accord. And like Doc rightly said, for national cohesion, for the optics of showing that you really mean it, the incumbent at the very minimum should have been there.
Yes.
Irrespective, because they are the ones who fix the calendar, right?
Yes, yes.
So it means that to show that I am going to lead from the front as a good leader,
yes,
you have to be there in person. Like Doc said, you cannot do it by proxy. And let's not forget, one fact is that the peace accord is not a legal statute. It's a cosmetic ceremony, actually.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, but it's the optics, it's the moral, it's the moral political move,
yes,
to say we will uphold the gentleman agreement, not go ballistics on each other, and to behave.
Okay.
So, who is better to champion it? Your guess is better.
Okay. You know, the truth is, even as this peace accord has been, you see some people violating the rules, and during the elections, you see that some other persons that are even arrested, are they being persecuted? They are release them tomorrow. That even mean? Another question I want to ask of accord: is it enough to guarantee full
cancellation to you just to not allowing you land? It is not an issue. It's not impossible. However, like you said, like Doc said, I mean, over the years, we have with violence pre, during, and post an election cycle, right?
Yeah.
So stop the violence. It's because we are applying a cosmetic surgery on a fundamental problem. That's why I said if we have the proper in our society and we have the proper constitutional, guidance as guardrails, and then we have the institutions to enforce this. There's no reason to call anybody to come and sign a peace accord, because if you misstep, there is an institutional structure that will come after you, that will deal with it effectively.
Atiku did not attend the meeting, right?
So
I saw something this morning on the papers where it said, if I am being elected as a president, I would bring back fuel subsidy.
Okay.
I said it.
So that is politics. Yeah? Politics is different from governance. I tell people that as a politician, you can say anything. Yeah? When you say anything, doesn't mean you're going to do that. And this again, back to what I said before, this is one of the demerits of democracy, populism. You say things that emotionally appealing to people, demagoguery. That's what people do to win elections. So that's what Atiku is doing.
So do you not think that if your leader stands and says there will be peace, we will not go into any violence during the election, that it sends a signal to the followers? Or you don't
Absolutely.
Think
that's how I said that I am shocked. I am nonplussed. I can't put it in words.
Yeah.
While the president of the country, who's the chief security of the country, is not in attendance to physically, first of all, I said from the optics of it.
Yeah.
The optics is the first thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are driving national cohesion, saying, under my watch, there will be no violence. I'm here to accede and agree, because we are here in the first place. I said, under normal circumstances, we shouldn't be here. But being that we are doing this so that we can put some sort of sanity around our electioneering, the only person that can effectively drive it, is the incumbent president of the country. No other player in that ceremony can drive it. I mean, quote me if I'm wrong. No other person can drive it, because he holds the security infrastructure of the country. So he holds every single structural artifact to make sure that there's peaceful elections. If he doesn't come personally to accede to it, it's just a cosmetic ceremony, if you ask me.
Okay, let's talk about 2027 election. Campaign started yesterday, even though we've been seeing that, you know, some political parties, I'm not going to mention him, have been campaigning ever since. Instead of, the campaign just started yesterday, but they've been campaigning officially yesterday. But some political parties have been campaigning. Let's talk about that.
So, you know, when I mentioned the fact that if you, for those who are, you know, who do politics or post sciences, if you will, the structure of every good democracy is built on, I've said it before, built on one, good, strong institutions, right? You have an umpire that's put up a timetable and says you cannot do, and we have electoral law. I've not even mentioned that. So when I'm going to constitution, that says this is how we should behave when it comes to election. You shouldn't campaign before X dates. The electoral, the INEC people come out and put their calendar, and somebody willfully doesn't obey that, and there are no consequences thereafter. So it still shows that we have such weak institutions, yeah, and that's my biggest worry for Nigerian democracy. So what you're saying is just, since there are no consequences to bad behavior, people still do whatever they want.
Okay, I want us to assess the current state of Nigeria's election campaigns, you know, and the factors that you think are influencing the tone and the pace.
Yes. This election is going to be an interesting election, ordinarily, because it's a pit, an incumbent, and people who are trying to unseat him. So typically, in that kind of election cycle, it's going to come up, there's a lot of heat. Yeah. Typically, this should be what normally happens when there's an incumbent and there's an opposing candidate trying to unseat him. It turned the conversation is a referendum on the incumbent.
Yes.
Yeah. And how far you've come with things you said you're going to do, direction the country is taking. So a whole lot of things, every single thing is going to be into play: economics, security, you know, safety, yari, all the work. So I hope that we will drive an issue-based electionary campaign where the issues are what is driving the decisions people are going to make when they finally go to the polls, and not about individual slanderings, you know, and all kind of, you know, personal attacks
that can hit up the system.
Yes, because people do it deliberately, and because for those who are in law, who are in the legal profession, they said when a lawyer knows he doesn't have a good case, he always drags everybody down a rabbit hole. Yeah, so we hope that we don't get dragged into rabbit holes. That those who are defending the incumbent will come and say, "This is our report card. This is how we've done it. This is what we hope to achieve next." Those who are challenging will come and say, "Okay," and challenge it on the merits. Yeah, and then allow the average Nigerian to make up their mind on what to do when they get to the polls.
Interesting.
Safely.
Okay, we've been seeing, I don't know, Doctor, if you saw it, you know, recently the opposition party, I mean, we saw that they formed a coalition before that didn't work out.
Yes.
But recently they are actually supposed to meet a summit, you know, last on the August 13th, but they postponed it. So some persons are asking, is it that they are trying to maybe form another coalition because they want to meet the opposition they are trying a way to unseat the current president, the ruling president. And now that the coalition that they did before did not work, and now they want to meet. Do you know, it got me wondering, and some persons talking, what are they talking about this time? Because now Atiku has contested several times, and he would not want to step aside. We all know Obi would not want to be vice president to anyone. So now some persons are asking, and some persons are thinking, now that they're coming together, what are they coming together again to discuss? I mean, the first coalition they did no workout. Okay.
In my personal opinion, I'm not sure Atiku is actually interested in this election. His body language does not convince me.
You got my attention there.
His body language doesn't convince me. Like I always argued the numbers, the political landscape does not favor him. So I'm not sure it's that serious. My gut feel is that's just playing a distraction role. Because if he was serious, there have been some moves. Typically, like you rightly mentioned, he wasn't there. That's unlike someone who's a serious gladiator. So I'm not sure it's that.
The president was also there.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm not convinced that he's serious. I'm not personally convinced, because I believe that he knows in his mind, and even his followers, that he's not going to win the election in the contest.
Okay, so there's something he's been doing. I mean, he's focused right now on embarrassing the president by bringing his records, so-called criminal records.
He did that in 2023.
Yeah, no, but he's going a step further now, because then it was merely as an allegation, but now they want to bring out full files, details, and all that. Of course, the president is not sitting idly by; he's fighting to make sure it does not come out. So, if you say he's not interested, why is he going to that length, and what will he gain from doing that?
Okay, in my view, I think he's playing a dog in the manger here. Yeah.
So a bull
in a China shop. So, I recall in 2023, he started this. He was championing this cause, and then of course, events overtook it with the elections. That cast my mind back. What's our constitutional provision? This shouldn't even be a conversation. If our institutions are doing the right thing, this shouldn't be a conversation. It shouldn't be a conversation, because the filtering process should have taken care of this.
Yeah, all that, yes.
The fact that we're even is a national discussion is an embarrassment. Yeah, and if he has the right, like every other Nigerian, to try to prove whatever that he wants to prove with it.
Yeah.
But whether that would fundamentally change anything, the way I see our institutions behave, I very much doubt.
Even the voters.
I very much doubt.
Because I think that the voters, at the end of the day, if they have made up their mind, if you like...
Exactly my point.
That's what I found out.
That's exactly what happened in Osun State. You know, the voters came out, they turned down...
Is that our dancing governor?
Yeah,
it's your problem.
Exactly.
Interested. Okay, you know what happened in Osun State election? I want us to talk briefly on that. What happened in Osun State election shows that, you know, votes count. A lot of Nigerians are thinking, oh, if I should go out to my votes count. But we saw what happened in Osun State election, even though we saw that governors, you know, from different states came to the to Osun State. Even I heard that the Senate president was there, you know, to probably support their own, and unfortunately things turned around, and you know, Adeleke won, and you know, we saw some videos on social media where they even shamed some governors when they were actually living in Osun State. So I feel these things, you know, the fact that people used to think that do my votes count, you know, the fact that people used to think do my votes count, I think, don't you think with what happened in Osun State, people do not need to have that mindset again that, okay, if I go out for my votes count, my votes will actually count? What do you have to say to Nigerians?
Your vote counts. If your vote not counts in 2023 election, P2B will not have won in certain places he won. The votes count.
Like Lagos.
Like Lagos. The challenge is not whether your vote will count. The challenge is what the decision the umpire finally makes. Because they can.
But that is whether it counts or not.
Yeah, no, it counts. They will count it. You count. I mean, that it counts that your votes have been valid.
Counted, but will it count?
Will it count? Yeah, I think that's a better way to look at it. It will be counted, but the question now, will it count? If I look at your Osun election, I have my reservations in two ways. I think this might be a red herring, right, situation here, where the presidency just to appease, so that there's a semblance of sanity in the polity.
Yeah? You think so?
I think so. Things are not always what they seem to, what they appear to be. never get thrown away by appearances. And I will say this why I said so. What is the difference between what happened in Osun State and what happened in those states? Let's cast our minds back.
The president was strongly behind the Edo governor.
And Osun?
Osun, it was unchallenged.
They let Osun slide. If they wanted Osun, they would have taken it.
But
that's what I'm saying. That's my view.
No, you might say so. You might say so.
Yes.
But that's taking away the credit from the people on ground.
No. I said there are two ways. I said my view are in two ways.
Okay.
The second part of that, my view. I said one is that I think the president allowed us to slide. Yeah, the current way.
You think he had a choice? Well, go ahead.
The second thing I thought happened was if you force, there's a way you defend your votes and you force the issue. Yeah, those days were small when you go and find trouble with a small kid that you can beat, and the first day you go hold you for trousers, you must beat me. Second day, you hold you for trousers. Third day, fourth day, fifth day. At the point, even you go beat and finish, you're tired and said, "Oh, I beg, carry your wahala." They go. Yeah, I think that they looked at Osun with all the wahala that, because it was hotly contested election. Yeah, and I strongly, in my mind, that's where I say it is that, yes, Osun people came and voted. I'm not discounting that. But I believe that they allow sanity to reign in Osun, i.e. their votes counted, yeah, intentionally. That's where I'm going.
Why it might seem so? This is the reason why I'm saying, are you not giving Osun credit? Look at the role Davido played. Wait, just a minute.
Okay.
The role Davido played. The role of the young people in Osun State. I saw a particular polling unit. I don't know if you saw it, but this was live on one of the stations at the time, where in a particular polling unit, only Adalimo was talking, he said they brought the voters list already. They brought 1,300 people. The young people there said, no, this list is not complete. This is not complete voters list. Then they went, changed it, and brought another, and bringing names from another polling unit. The people refused. They said, no voting will take place here. They were telling the old man, please just calm down. Election will not here to do. Finally, the umpire had to do the right thing. They now brought the proper voters register. That's on the one hand. Secondly, as the votes were leaving the polling units, they were guarding it, protecting, and then they surrounded the collation center to make sure that exactly that what is carried there is what is announced, what comes out.
Exactly.
Again, I read a tweet by Davido, and he was tweeting that some polling officers were saying that they will not tally the votes there, they will do it at the collation center. I said no, the votes must be counted there, and from EC8 has to be filled right from there. He said it, so they were tweeting. Don't you think that, for me, is this not people's power? Did you not think that even if they wanted to do anything, that what the people were doing was too overwhelming, and the eyes of the world were watching Osun?
My brother, I totally agree with what you said, but I have not forgotten 2023. Yeah? Where we saw, I voted in 2023, I was very active, but we saw our votes counted, but did not count. Yeah. So because of that, it's almost like a PTSD. Yeah. So I look at everything that's being done now with a tinted glass, literally. I am not decountenancing 1 second what the Osho people did and the way they drove it, made sure. What I'm saying is that I think the powers that be let them slide intentionally. Yeah. So that there's no less tension as they run into the general elections.
Okay,
That's my view.
let's come back to our topic, the peace accord that they signed. You know,
Yes.
So the accord should encourage, according to them, should encourage issue-based campaign, peaceful rallies, and political activities.
Yeah.
You know, respect for opposition opponents. Don't you think any of those politicians that violate the laws or these rules should be punished?
So first thing I said to you is that it's a moral. The document has no legal backing. You can't enforce it. It has no penalty per se. Yeah, it is you. You know how you say what we call a gentleman's agreement. Yeah, even though a gentleman's agreement, I think it can be legally enforced. Nobody, I can't remember, has gone to court post-election to enforce the fact that we had an agreement and Mr. A or Mr. B or your surrogates broke that agreement. I've not heard it in any cycle. I mean, I stand to be corrected.
But you and I know that they're not the ones going to carry the guns.
No, your surrogates, they are signing that they, and on behalf of their surrogates, will not do anything untoward, to score to the election. You sign. And that's why, if it's not valid, that's why Akume had to go and represent the president, right? Because those are the surrogates. So everybody in APC when we see APC, we see the president, right? We believe that instruction should have been passed from top to bottom. So if I see an APC man carrying machetes and go on tomorrow, my belief is that they've not done their part of the work, because they cannot deny that he's not a member. So the point is, we mount it. I call it cosmetic surgery. We mount it, make it look nice, whited sepulchre, and then we do the wrong. Because in 2023 we saw bloodshed, yeah, and post the election, there was not one consequence. In fact, if you ask me, there's more of even selective judgment. Yeah, most of the people who touted violence in 2023 are still walking free around the country. Yeah, and are preparing for 2027. So, in my view, because it's not enforceable, it's more of gentleman's handshake they are coming to have.
All right, let's talk about vote buying. Campaign has started, yeah?
Yes.
Let's talk about vote buying. The Osun election, let's use that as a case study. We saw, people sharing money, 25,000, 20,000, 5,000, different amounts, people sharing food items. And at the same time, I saw on social media, I'm always on social media, right? Because there's a program, TMI Social, so I'm always on social media. So I saw on social media where some persons came out to say, oh, we collected the money, but we still conscious. Is it that Nigerians now, they've woken up that to know that, okay, even if I collect money from this person or I collect something from this person, I would still go out and vote for the right person I want to vote for. Let's talk about vote buying. The politicians that sell their votes, and even the Osun election. There's one woman, she shared food, and after the election, she didn't win. She was actually crying. She was sad about it, and the people of Osun State, some of them were even mocking her. After collecting the food, collected what she shared, they still went ahead to vote at their conscience. Let's talk about that.
Vote buying is a malaise. Shows there's something fundamentally wrong with our politics. We have weaponized poverty.
Yes.
We've deliberately made our people impoverished. So, you give the person a piece of bread and then you ask the person to vote for you. Why you are doing that in the first place is because you have nothing to offer. You are not a credible candidate. A credible candidate, yeah? In my little circles of I'm not sure I approached anybody with any gift or any inducement to have voted for me.
Is that why you are not in government? Perhaps.
Because you should be voted based on your merits of your arguments.
Ideally.
Or your based on of your ideals. So, right? So, ideally, right? And then if you take it into yes, money will change hands. I mean, in bigger context of in the public sector of politics and all that, money changes hands. But money changes hands not to convince people to vote for you. When that becomes the supporting structure for winning an election, it means you have nothing to offer the people. You're just going there, take care of yourself.
You have just brought a very important issue to the discourse right now. We're talking campaigns,
yes,
campaign funding, financing, yes, and all that.
Correct.
What role do you think? I mean, it's not just about inducement.
Yes.
You're talking about logistics.
Of course, money will change hands, not inducements. I agree.
You're talking about logistics.
Politics requires money.
Yes, you're talking about logistics. You're talking about personnel. You're talking about media blitz and campaigns and all that.
Absolutely, yes.
What role do you think that money will play in determining the next, well, there are candidates now, the next leaders that will emerge?
So, let's take a hypothetical scenario where our institutions are working. Like I said, I mentioned earlier, there is nowhere in this world you do politics that money will not change. In fact, democracy, as part of the democratic structure, inherent in that structure, is the fact that if you want to contest for a position, you need to campaign. Of course, campaign requires money.
Exactly.
You set up a political party, it has to be run. You know, you need to go to campaign, you need to do electioneering, all that put together will require money. So money is an ingrained part of the process. However, what we do not regulate, what is the problem? Is the money that you use to induce me is the problem here. Because if you use the money to show all the blaze, and I know that when I queue up, that with all your noise, that I don't believe one thing you said, with all the noise you made, I will not vote for you.
There's an issue here. Because for even people to consider you, they must hear you. They must see you.
Yes.
Exactly.
So now, and for me, this is one, I don't know how these candidates are going to fare, because this is the longest period. In my time, campaign started around, the election was February, campaign started around November or so.
Okay.
So it was very close. You didn't have to exhaust yourself. Yes. So now you have such a long period.
Yeah.
And then you will still have to leave enough, even if not for inducement, but for paying people at the various polling units, your agents, even that itself.
No, that's part
the
of
budget
it.
for that one alone.
Yes.
Is you can run an empire with the budget for at the presidential level. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I know.
So, and how can a good candidate?
Yes.
How can a good candidate?
Yes.
Who is not in power?
Yes.
Be able to say, okay, people will vote for me only because I am good. I'm not going to induce. I'm not going to give thorough. Let me not call the other amount. You know, how can a good candidate emerge under such circumstances where the campaign period is now more than double the normal time?
Yeah.
And you have to visit 36 states and the federal capital.
Correct.
And if you, as senatorial districts, you know, if you also at the capital, is not enough.
Yeah.
And still have enough to pay agents across the country, and you still win the election.
Doug, that is why part of our constitutional requirement is that you must be sponsored by a political party as one of the requirements to contest an election. That sponsorship is the word they use there. I like that word.
Is it the candidate that's sponsoring the party, or the party is sponsoring the candidate?
No.
I understand. No, we are not talking about the reality. Between the ideal and the...
I'm coming. That's why I wanted to give you the ideal. The ideal is that the political party has a coalition of individuals of different resources will pull their resources together and build a political party that's strong enough, you know, to contest presidential election. So you're not going as a candidate, you're not going to an election to dispense your own funds. I mean, if that was the case, Obama would never have become president of America. I mean, I can cite multiple cases around the world. Yeah. But because the party, when you become the presidential candidate of the party rolls out its coffers, to ensure that instruments of electioneering is well robustly funded. Yeah, to give you a fighting chance of winning the election. The rest is now based on your credibility as a candidate. After the party have done all that, yeah, the rest is now based on your credibility as a candidate and the what you've outlined you're going to do. Ideally. However, when you come to the factor, right, is a money bag system, yeah, cash and carry system. We know that. And if I look at the landscape, Obi is a billionaire, Atiku is a billionaire, President Tinubu is a billionaire. Yeah, I'm yet to see any of the men in the ring that don't have enough cash. Yeah, if you combine that with what their political parties are going to roll out, I think they have more than enough in it to go around.
Are you sure it's not? Sorry, it's not who has the biggest watches at the end of the day now.
Yes, I know, but I'm not saying for the period that the campaign. I mean, we are talking about almost 6 months of campaigning period, right? I believe that each and I mean, we all were here when they were hearing how much that were being earmarked by the government.
On the papers this morning, actually, 501 billion naira campaign spending limit for presidential and governorship candidates.
Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of money. And my dear, you in the Nigerian context, they will be routing this money out of warehouses, out of soccer way pits, bullion vans. So you see some cash that was printed like 4 or 5 years ago that has not been in circulation. You'll find them in circulation now because all manner of cash will find themselves in the mainstream because they have to win election. So what I'm saying is, for our scenario, I believe that the candidates, the contestants, all have enough in the tank to go.
So do you think the president stands a chance for 2027?
No, I think you ask the question the other way around. Those contesting against him stand a chance in 2027 because...
No, the reason why I asked that, yes. The reason why I asked that, yes. I feel with what happened in Osun State and what I've been hearing from different persons, yes. Because of the situation of the country, yes. Insecurity, food and all of that, yes. Economic insecurity, yes. I feel people at this point, they are angry. I would say because of the situation of the country. So a lot of persons at this point feels that, we need a change. That's why I asked if you think the president stands a chance because of the situation in the country.
In an ideal scenario, he doesn't stand a chance. But this is Nigeria.
Anything can happen.
Nigeria beats Clemens Westhoff, one-time coach of Super Eagles. He says that Nigeria is one country that no tactics work. No tactics. You just have to bring out your own. Look at what's going on and find how you're going to make it work. So, as it concerns our system, I am strong, a convincing run of president unless something happens tomorrow or next tomorrow that we have not seen yet. Based on the current run rates, right? Based on the activities of the contestants or the challengers, yeah? I think the president has a good head start.
The president has a good head start. What about the opposition parties? Let's talk about them. The presidents of Obi, yes. So talking about Atiku, what about Peter Obi?
So
remember and other presidential candidates.
That's what they call me. That's what they also run. Yeah. Those parties we need to collapse. I mean, let's be fair. We know how this is.
Options can take place.
Not in this context of this Nigeria, not in this current Nigeria. In a Nigeria that will come after this Nigeria has been removed now and put in place, there will be disruptions. The Nigeria was born in, raised in, and I've seen different. My grandfather was a side politician. I have not seen it disrupted that much. There are only the disruption along some certain lines, yeah, and that is the only. If I'm tomorrow, I say okay, that might possibly be a disruption. But say because we are hungry and people will say we will vote, you'll be surprised.
Hi, we're actually out of time. One last.
Well, I would. One last question.
Yes, please.
Just for me,
yes.
what would you say to Nigerians as politicians approach to campaign? What should Nigerians be looking out for if we must get a good leader in the next election?
So, first of all, who has the best plan to take us out from where we are and move us now? Are we looking for, there are two things here. Are we looking for a transformational leader? Are we looking for a leader to put, food on the table right now, and solve the hunger problem? That's the first question we'll ask. The second question is, what plans does each of the candidates have, and how does it impact our lives? Yeah? What is the potential of him achieving that plan?
Okay.
Because it's not enough to say, I have a plan. It's also, how would that plan be executed? Yeah? Give us a detailed plan on how it should be executed and what possible potential outcomes we should take from it. Then on the basis of that, we should make up our minds and go to
all right. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Festus. Thank you, all our viewers. Dr. Hai.
Yeah, thank you. It's been nice, and we'll see you again.
No problem. Anytime.
Thank you so much. Thank you all our esteemed viewers for joining our Lagos Network studio this beautiful morning on CMI. Selena Unkwo will be handing over to our Benin studio for the continuation on CMI. Just stay with us.
Onwa is rich in culture and traditions. The people are a mixture of traditional worshippers, Muslims and Christians. Onwa is located at the northern part of Edo State. It consists of two local government areas, that is Onwa West and Onwa East. It has a total number of 13 clans and 21 political wards, according to National Population Commission 2006 census. The population of Onwa people is put together at 251,686. The people love tradition and culture. Historically, the people ancestors in deep quest to hand down on their future children a society of love and friendship.
ITV, certainly the best.
In a rare display of botanical brilliance, the palm tree defied natural norms, sprouting multiple branches that bear fruits.
This rare occurrence has become a wonder to many
as experts are calling it a one-in-a-million phenomenon. Could this multiple-headed marvel hold secret to agricultural breakthroughs, or is it simply a freak accident of...
Good morning and welcome to the news at this time. I am Anuluwapo Stevens, founder of Dr. Ernest Ahamuyuji Project Initiative. Dr. Ernest Ahamuyuji has reaffirmed his commitment to empowering the less privileged residents across the 10 wards in Asa Southeast local government area, Edo State. The state had this on the sidelines of a 2-day Edo Youth Impact Forum 2.0 held at the Victor Olaifu Creative Hub in Benin City. Patient Osaragiwar has the details.
Edo Youth Impact Forum brought together young people from across the state to develop innovative ideas into sustainable ventures through skills acquisition, mentorship, and access to opportunities. Dr. Ahamuyuji sponsored 20 youths from the 10 wards of Esan Southeast local government area to participate at the forum, describing the gesture as part of his broader commitment to supporting youths, the elderly, widows, and students through scholarships, educational materials, and other interventions. The former APC House of Assembly aspirant said the initiative will continue to focus on improving the lives of vulnerable residents across the constituency.
I run a non-profit organization that helps people in my community. Bringing them over here is for them to network with their peers, because the future is today. The future is now. And I also want to thank the Governor Monday Okpebholo, for giving us the opportunity for making this happen, because without him, the youth would have not been here today.
The team lead of Edo Youth Impact Forum 2.0 and Special Advisor on Finance, Investments and Revenue Generation, Kizito Okpebholo, commended Governor Monday Okpebholo for supporting youth entrepreneurs, particularly through financial grants and empowerment programs.
We are giving out 40 million naira today. For new ideas, they're going home, 6 people are going home with 2.5 million naira. And for existing ideas that are already doing some businesses, 5 people are going home with 5 million naira each.
Some beneficiaries, including Faith Obaga and Jasper Osifu, appreciated Dr. Ahamuyuji for sponsoring their participation and providing them with an opportunity to gain new skills and connections.
I want to give special thanks to Dr. Ernest Ahamuyuji for sponsoring us to this program. I don't even know how I'll be here.
We learned a lot. If you guys in this youth forum, if you guys have the opportunity to come to this place next time, please, have to be here. It's lovely.
From Benin, Patience Osaragiwar, ITV News.
The second in command, known as Ozupo Giva of Akwakwari village in Oredo local government area, Edo State, Pa Osarati Ivineweka, and elders of the community have appealed to Governor Monday Okpebholo and the Oba of Benin, Oba Elaya II, to urgently intervene in an alleged leadership dispute over the Odiowe position in the community. The elders, in a statement while reacting to a recent media publication recognizing Pa Matthew Asemota as Odiowe, warned that failure to resolve the dispute could escalate into violence and result in bloodbath. Ikmomusa Ugiagbe has the details of the statement.
The Ozupo Giva and elders of Ahwahwai village said a letter of authority from the palace of the Oba of Benin recognized Pa Ero as the second in command of Ahwahwai village based on his status as a bona fide native of the community where he was born, raised, and has lived. They accused one Matthew Asemota of falsely laying claim to the Odiowe position, alleging that Asemota was being promoted by Ovensei Friday Osarieme, Ada Osakpama, and others for what they described as plans involving land grabbing and other criminal activities. According to the elders, Asemota's grandfather came to Ahwahwai for farming, having hailed from Evinyomau village, and subsequently had a son who later became Asemota's father. They explained that the leadership dispute had been settled in the palace of the Oba of Benin, alleging that rather than honoring the palace, Asemota and his associates resorted to using police petitions and arrests to intimidate and humiliate them. The elders said women and children in the community were now living in fear of possible attacks as a result of the dispute and called for urgent intervention by Governor Okpebholo and Oba Ewai II to mediate in the matter and prevent further escalation. Ikmomosa Ugiagbe, ITV News.
Away from that now to other stories, where the acting chairman of Owode Local Government Council, Honorable Austin Imafido, has congratulated Dr. Washington Osa Osifo on his inauguration as the new Edo State Commissioner for Education. In a congratulatory message, Honorable Imafido described the appointment as a well-deserved recognition of Dr. Osifo's wealth of experience, intellectual capacity, dedication, and commitment to public service. According to the acting chairman, the people of Owode are proud of the appointment and are confident that the new commissioner will deploy his wealth of knowledge and experience toward advancing the education sector across Edo State. Honorable Imafido expressed optimism that Dr. Osifo's tenure would usher in visionary leadership, innovative reforms, improved educational standards, and greater opportunities for students, teachers, and educational institutions across the state. He assured the Commissioner of prayers and support of the Owode Local Government Council, noting that his success in the new assignment would bring pride to both Owode and Edo State. The acting chairman urged the commissioner to remain committed to the educational transformation and development of the state, expressing confidence that his tenure would be successful and impactful. As the search for reliable and affordable alternative power solutions continues, Fanek Technologies Limited has unveiled a range of solar panels, inverters, and batteries, alongside a flexible payment plan designed to make solar energy more accessible to residents. The company, which has operated in Edo State for 9 years, also unveiled Entertainer, popularly known as Godfather the Entertainer, as its brand ambassador. Alfure Aneta tells us more.
The arrival of the brand ambassador set the tone for the event, which also featured the unveiling of Fanek Technologies' new range of solar panels, inverters, and batteries, with installation services provided by trained technicians. Chief Executive Officer of Fanek Technologies Limited, Engineer Fabian Ohaneche, said the company was unveiling a solution aimed at making solar power accessible to more Nigerians through flexible installment payments. He announced a 10% discount for customers who purchase within the next 1 month.
It's a package that will give you solar power, any form of power, and you pay gradually. We call it pay small.
The brand ambassador, Ogevanye Abraham, popularly known as Godfather the Entertainer, described solar energy as an important alternative to conventional electricity and urged Nigerians to embrace cleaner and more reliable energy solutions.
We are ready to light up their life. So please help us in pushing this and let them know, no matter how much you have, even if you don't have it, come, we'll work out a plan to make sure you have lights in your houses.
A representative of Sterling Bank, Mr. Solomon Edia, commended the partnership aimed at improving access to electricity in Edo State.
Sterling has come to be partner of this very good innovation, to partner with Fanek and see how we can actually light up Edo State.
High point of the event was the signing of the ambassadorship agreement and presentation of a certificate to Godfather the Entertainer, officially making him Fanek Technologies brand ambassador for 1 year.
The aim is to see that the people who do not have all the big money in their bank account to have light.
Fanek Technologies is situated at 209 Airport Road, Jerovit Filling Station, Benin City. From Benin, Ofuri and Neto, ITV News.
In the meantime, as Nigeria joins the rest of the globe to commemorate World Humanitarian Day 2026, some Benin City residents and stakeholders have hammered on the need for greater public support, appreciation, and collective action to make humanitarian service more effective. The report by Iyobosa Igbonadian is presented by Donlad Eimie.
From providing relief to vulnerable families to responding to emergencies, humanitarian workers continue to put service before self across the globe. As the World Mass World Humanitarian Day 2026, the commemoration highlights the courage, sacrifice, and humanity of people working to ease suffering and protect lives, and also remember those who lost their lives in rendering services to others. In Benin City, humanitarian service workers, including members of the Red Cross Society, were cited killing drainages in commemoration of the day. Some humanitarian service workers say the day is a reminder that helping others is not only a profession but a responsibility to humanity.
For Edo State, what we take the mark today now flood awareness, and you can see that we don't ready well, and we don't go around the Dogbo community today. We don't go market, we don't enter street to street where we do sensitization on flooding, and we tell them some of the things where they go fit do as it relate to preventing flood. We say may they clean their drainage.
Humanitarian service itself is a work of God, not just preaching on the altar alone. We have some people that is facing oppression, facing injustice and intimidation. So as a human rights activist, you speak for them without collecting money from them.
The resident and medical practitioner, Dr. Jolly Guma, harped on the need for greater public support, appreciation, and collective action to make humanitarian service more effective.
A world without a humanitarian service is a world with pain. A world without humanitarian service is a world that people live in agony and in rancor. Of course, humanitarian service is what makes the world enjoyable, it's what makes the world to be better.
World Humanitarian Service Day is a United Nations observance marked on August 19 across the globe. From Benin, Donald Ihiminyeng, ITV News.
And with that, we come to the end of the news at this time. Many thanks for watching. Up next, let's see my socials.
ITV, certainly the best.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you
Good morning, TMI Socials. It is What's Trending. Welcome on board. I am Anuoluwapo Stevens. Better still, call me a social media butterfly. Tell you what, our video of the day is no other than the viral video of Angelique Kidjo, who happens to make history as the first African musician to receive a star at the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Let's take a look.
To the Walk of Fame.
Well, congratulations to Angelique. Some persons actually did say that Gen Zs cannot relate to that video. 1996 for some persons. But anyway, we bring it down here back to Nigeria. It will start off with Abuja, where yesterday we saw armed policemen and soldiers yesterday blocked retired military personnel from converging in front of the Ministry of Defense in Abuja, where the ex-servicemen had gathered to protest the non-implementation of consequential adjustment to their pensions. Now, the protesters had attempted to move towards the front of the ministry as part of their planned demonstrations, but more security personnel were mobilized to prevent them from assembling at the location. So it felt like the military against the military, the serving military versus the ex-military yesterday in Abuja. Take a look at the videos that went viral.
No. Stop. You cannot. We are not blocking road, but we are doing the project. We are working for you people. We are working for Today is a good day to die. Today is a good day to die. Wait. What call those soldiers? Today is a good day to die. Listen.
Well, it's really, truly not funny. Now let's take a listen to one of the ex-servicemen to hear his audio. Okay, well, if we can have the ordeal of one of that men, I remember him actually saying that he has spent over 35 years right there serving the country, and right now, out of service, he cannot even afford the basic. He is sick, medicines are expensive and all. Would have appreciated if we had that video, but can we move over to reactions if we have it? Now, this user wrote, "This hits hard. A man who gave 35 years of his life defending the country is now sick, broke, and facing the possibility of dying from lack of basic health care and food. Veterans like Augustine Duru shouldn't have to beg for their dignity they already earned. The least a nation can do is to take care of those who took care of it." Absolutely. Another user reacting to this viral video, this user wrote on X, I remember one actually saying very soon those who are preventing them from protesting at this point would also be in their shoes. If we could have more reactions on the story. Anyway, this user wrote, "Oh my, this is so sweet to watch. Same way they blocked the ordinary Nigerian from protesting while in service then. Same has been given to them by the present brothers and sisters who took over from them." Now, away from that, we move over to another major trending video currently surfacing online with Catholic Archbishop Emeritus of Abuja. Remember this man? Yes, Cardinal John Onayeko. He has said he is not afraid of the federal government or embarrassed by criticism that followed his public comment on a meeting between Catholic bishops and President Bola Tinubu. In fact, he said he's 82 years old, he fears nobody, he is not scared to die, yada, yada, yada. Take a listen to him.
Servants, civilians got those things, but
Okay, can we have the reactions now? Let's see reactions on the Cardinal conversation. Well, this user writing says, he said what he said without mincing words. May God continue to bless and keep Cardinal John in good health. Posterity will be kind to him. Another user reacting to this viral video, this one wrote, On X still, this is an irresponsible statement from a biased so-called cardinal, whom we already know where he belongs. What a frustrated person after the backlash. Now, away from that story, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has said he could have helped President Bola Tinubu to win the Osun State governorship election if truly the president wanted to win the polls at all cost. Now, Wike, who remains a member of the People's Democratic Party, said Tinubu deliberately allowed the election to take place without deploying the influence of the federal government to sway the outcome in favor of the APC. Let's take a listen to the video if we have it.
I don't know the effort made by federal government. But I do know that parties in the election will make efforts to win election. There's nothing wrong in that. But federal government are part of the federal government. I'm sure that if the president wanted to win Osun at all costs, I would be involved. And I would have been there. And the governor would have known that it would have been different. Election is not won one day. Election is not one day. Election is a process. You can't just get up in the morning to go and win an election. President is a politician now. So people should not, when they say effort of federal government, what do you see to show that federal government is seriously interested to win this? If colleagues, governors, as of a party, think that by going there, will have a form of influence, it is to the people. I didn't see anything that anybody would tell the federal government did.
Reaction to this online, let's see what netizens have been saying about this particular statement from the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike. This user wrote, a politician cannot say this in a developed country without a major blowback. Was he insinuating he will influence the outcome of the election one way or the other when he is not a resident or registered voter in that state? They are not hiding the corruption anymore. While still reacting to this user wrote on X, Wahala don't come villa be that. Wike wasn't involved. Tinubu isn't giving Wike face. Wike is calling for violence against opposition in the 2027 elections. Wike can be bought. Now finally, this user wrote on X, reckless statements. In which way is this statement not supposed to be investigated? Win by rigging or killing more people, which they have done. It's a pity they are using taxpayers' money to insult us. Nigerians need to teach them serious lessons. See, finished. Away from that, we still move over to Abuja. Still staying in Abuja yesterday, an interesting statement came out from Taiwo Oyedele, the Minister of Finance, where he said that Nigeria saved 15.8 trillion naira from the removal of petrol subsidy between June 2023 and December 2025. Now, he actually stated this yesterday during a media conference on the scorecard of the federal government reform between 2023 and 2026. Take a listen to that moment.
Right. Let me tell you about the numbers. And these materials will be up on the Finance Ministry website as soon as we're done here. So you'll be able to download, do your analysis. So let me tell you about the numbers. Between June 2023 and December 2025, subsidy savings mobilized the sum of 15.8 trillion naira in resources for the Federation. Many people will say, where is the subsidy saving? As a matter of fact, there wasn't any alert to the Federation account with the description subsidy savings. So the subsidy savings showed up in form of higher collection by customs, because for every 1 naira or $1 of import duty before, at 460 naira, it became $1 at 1004, 1003, 1005.
Now, towards the tail of the video, he also did say that all of the monies, the state governors, the local governments are receiving a huge chunk of it. Now, let's see what Nigerians said regarding this interesting revelation. This user wrote, Nigeria saved 15.8 trillion naira from subsidy, and there is high electricity bill, inflation, and poverty. There is no need of you telling us this because the amount was not used to help Nigerians. Subsidy was removed to favor the government and not the masses. Now, finally, this user wrote on X, okay, I pretty much cannot read out what this is, but that, well, we got to wrap up here my socials on this note. Thank you so much for being part of it. I am Nuoluwapo Stevens. From all of us on This Morning on ITV, thank you for your time. We'll see you again next week.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
ITV. Certainly the best.